Okay, so why blogs matter? So first thing you can do is brand positioning. It can help you stand out from the pack. Because by creating a blog, what it allows you to do is differentiate yourself, say what you want to say, really allow you to differentiate yourself with messaging, just like you have a logos, just like you have your brand coloring. You can stand out and comment on things that other people wouldn't necessarily be able to. This goes into conveying your messages, saying what you want to say, allowing people to hear what you want to hear, what they want to hear.
What?
Then going into bolstering your digital presence. The digital landscape is extremely crowded. You know this anytime you go on Google. There's millions and millions of things that you can look at. And so standing out is a very important thing. And so doing a blog can help you do that. And then 4, generating leads. This is how it ties into the business side of it, that doing a blog and doing it properly can generate leads and generate sales. And then 5th, finally, it's free. So going back to like the brand positioning and conveying your messages, there's a lot of ways that we can get a company's messages heard, whether it's through advertising, public relations, a lot of different marketing techniques, whether it's doing a brochure. The cool thing about a blog is that it's free, so it's just like social media. It's a good way to get your messages heard without having to pay for that space and creating a viral effect. So mainly blogs matter because it's another part of the marketing initiatives. So again, we're going to get into it. What is a blog? Let's understand. Originally, a blog came from the term a weblog. So what is that really? That's just a little historical fact. What is it really? It's a collection of online articles. So it's individual. You write individual. It's basically news. It could be a lot of different things. It could be news articles. It could be commentaries. It can be, tips and tricks. So it's just a collection of online things that you want to say. But more importantly, it's a platform for your company's voice. And this is a place where, you can kind of derail from like the regular product sales page, the home page. Okay, like for instance, Webmax. Okay, we make websites. We do. We help mortgage companies out, but really we can kind of branch off of that and give ourselves an opportunity to kind of diversify what we want to say and talk about topics outside of just our regular sales funnel. So that's what a blog is. So now we'll get into what the webinar is actually called, creating a powerful blog post. So first things first, create good content. So blogging is another form of content marketing. And the first thing about content marketing is that you have to make good content, because the most important thing is not where it is or where it goes. It's basically it's like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. So if you make good content, people will want to see it. People want to share it. Just think about what you might do when you're on social media, or when you're watching TV. When you like something, you share with other people, you're engaged, you want to keep reading it, you want to keep on doing it. And so, right, like we said earlier, people are busy. There's so many things, whether you're on social media or, the internet, other forms of digital platforms, there's so many different things that can grab people's attention, and they're so busy that you need to make something that will stand out to them. So you need to make good content, because there's millions of other things that people could be looking at. And so a good way to start with that, and this is any form of communications, think about your audience first, because yes, we understand that as a blog and as a company, you have things that you want to say to other people, you have things you want to say to your audience, you have things that maybe you want to do as far as branding initiatives. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter as much as you want to say, as much as what your customer wants to hear. Because at the end of the day, it's what they're reading, it's what they are reading, it's what they're interested in. And this really just goes off, not to get too educational, but it's the two-way model of communication, to where it's an ongoing thing of where the company is sending out messages and the audience is receiving them, interpreting them, perceiving them, and it really has to be the audience first, the customer first. and going back to grabbing attention. And so a good way to so let's think, a lot of the people on the call will be mortgage companies, so let's think about a target audience, borrowers. How do we grab their attention? Now, for this instance, since a blog will be on a digital platform, and who's doing the most home buying right now? Let's take millennials. Millennials are the ones looking at mortgages, real estate, housing market right now. So you have to think, like, what do they care about? Because if we get this right, we can hit on the trends, we can tie in buzzwords, and we can really try to grab more attention. So we have to look around. We have to do some research. We have to see what are other people saying, because this ties into like social media and hashtags and other things that we want to kind of get into the news cycle. And what are people talking about right now? We want to tie into that. So maybe it's student loan debt, something that millennials are facing challenges with much more so than past generations. So maybe that's something now. Maybe, through your research, you find that a big blockade to millennials buying homes and applying for mortgages, that their credit's bad because of student loans, or they don't have the money to put down because of they're paying off student loans. So there's other factors. So you want to do your research, look around, see what's mattering to your audience. That way you can create effective content. Now, next, how do you benefit from this? That's a big thing. We talked about how the audience will benefit. How do you benefit? Again, we talked about earlier, standing out from the pack, brand positioning. You want to, God knows how many mortgage companies are in your select market. This is your chance to sound different than them. Like, what do you think about student loans? How do you think what a creative strategy would be for people to be able to get a mortgage and pay off student loans in a conducive way? Maybe that is their final decision. Next, drive more website traffic. So I'm sure many of you listening to this, you've invested in creating a website, and if you're in the mortgage industry, providing the digital mortgage experience. So you spent time and money creating this website, and you got to get some traffic. You got to get people to find it. You got to get some traffic going. You got to get found on Google, found on social media. And so you made it right. You made this awesome website. You got to get some people to go there, and blogs really help drive website traffic. So basically, without getting too technical, people can obviously, if they know your company, know your website, they can find you directly through your web address. But if not, they're probably finding you through search engines, Google, right? You Google it. And Google controls about 80% of search engine queries at this time. So it's really important to show up. And how does Google find you? It finds you through keywords and key phrases and rich content. And blogs really provide extremely rich content that Google will kind of cling on to and consume itself with and feed onto, so that it will pick up on that and get your site found more. And so there's really two ways as far as blogging goes that Google will pick up on it. Because what Google wants to do with its algorithm is find relevant content for what that person's searching for. So it will if you're typing in, best ways to budget for a mortgage, there might be a blog about that, and it can see things from two ways. It can see things from the viewer's eye, so it can see how beneficial this would be to a human reader and see how relevant it is, and that's what it wants to bring up. But also, it goes into keywords and key phrases. So if you're searching for best ways to budget for a mortgage, if you have a blog title with that exact wording, you have a better chance of showing up. But you can't just, that's another thing to be important though, you don't just put the phrase ways to budget for mortgage, because Google knows when it's spamming you. It's getting smarter and smarter. So there's different ways to make good dynamic content that's beneficial to your reader, but then incorporating those keywords and key phrases to ultimately drive more website traffic. So another factor of how you benefit is link building and inbound marketing. So in addition to getting your website driving more website traffic with keywords and rich content, getting linking back to your website drives a lot more traffic and kind of boosts your credibility and reputation within Google. And so like think about if you've ever read, I'm sure what you have, you read news online and you see, there'll be a certain word that's hyperlinked and links out to another text. So if you're reading, Washington Post, and you see a word that's hyperlinked to another link, that would be an outbound link because it's in your site and it's linking to another one outbound. So that's good, and you should do that about 1 to 3 times in each of your blogs. But also, what you're hoping is by doing this blog and creating good content, people want to share it and they'll link back to it. And so when other people share links that link back to your website, your blog, that's what we call inbound marketing and link building. And that really obviously drives more traffic in and of itself because there's more people linking to it. Also really boosts your credibility. And that's, we'll get more into that later, but there's ways to kind of create reciprocal relationships with link building. And last, but certainly not least, impress and generate leads. Like we said before, if you're able to create content that's extremely relevant to the end reader and they like what they're reading and they say, wow, this is impressive, I can't believe what this person's saying, maybe they will want to contact you. Maybe you did establish some trust. Maybe you show that you are an opinion leader and that you have good things to say. So, yes. And then I ultimately will generate leads, and we'll get into more dynamic ways of how to generate leads later. So, creating a blog strategy. So this is kind of, we're going to get into individual creating blogs later, but this is, if you're new to blogging, this will really help you with how to kind of lay out maybe a 2 to 3 month plan of what you're going to blog and doing things with a purpose. Because, a big thing that I'm about personally and what people are about really is not just doing things for the sake of doing things, doing them with a purpose to create an outcome, right? Strategic planning. So we're not just blogging for the sake of blogging. We're not just blogging because that's what, what we're supposed to do or because that's what the millennial in the office is saying to do. We're blogging because we want to drive more traffic and ultimately generate more leads. Because we don't just have a website to have a website. We have a website because people are online and because we want to ultimately have more people find us and then generate more sales, generate more leads, do more business. So, right, doing things with a purpose. And so that ties to blogging too. And so we're going to start off big and then go a little smaller. So building your blog strategy. So basically what you want to do with this is build internal links. So you want it all, since I'm sure many of your mortgage companies all do something, again, it's more relevant to you. So let's say you have a big topic, right? Millennial home buyers. That's all anyone's talking about in the housing industry now. So that's your big topic. So maybe you create, what we'll call a master blog about millennial home buyers. And in that blog, which will be longer, let's say you have 8 or so subtopics. Not all pictured here, but it could be anything from building credit to finding a home in the right market to, should I or shouldn't I file with my spouse or not? How much should I put down on the down payment? What's personal mortgage insurance? So all that right through research, we'll find out what are the most pressing areas under millennial home, right? The big topics, millennial home buyers. What are some, key subtopics under that of the millennial home buying demographic right now? And so basically you would lay that out and say you have like 8 subtopics, which 2 of them pictured here on the tree would be building credit and finding a home. And so what you would do is from the subtopic that you had in the original one, then you'll create a full blog just about building credit and just about finding a home in a separate blog. And the key things that you'll do in the building a credit blog is that you will link back to your master blog of millennial home buyers. So, right, when you write this blog with all the subtopics, and then you'll go into here and you'll start writing an individual one just about building credit. And the key thing there is to go ahead and link back to your master blog. That way you're creating valuable links within your own site and linking to things within your own site. And that, again, it's hard to get inbound links, and that will really strengthen your search engine optimization strategies, get people to stay on your site longer, and will boost your reputation with Google. And another key thing that you can do kind of just cutting off of this for a second with internal links that you can link to your product pages. So again, let's say you're a mortgage company and you're doing a blog about refinancing, then you can have obviously you can have a link in there that goes to, and you have a refinance page specifically on your website. Then in the refinance blog, you can have a link that links to your refinancing website page. And another key thing to consider here is using relevant keywords in what we call the anchor text. The anchor text is the text that is hyperlinked and when you click on it, it sends you to the page you want to go. So you'll see that when you read news articles. And so basically, if it's the refinancing blog, going to the refinancing page, then you would probably want to hyperlink somewhere in the blog where you say refinancing to put the link into. So, and this you can go further and further. I'm sorry, I went off on a little bit of a tangent there with internal link building. But then when you go to student loans and credit cards, again, you can link back. This is another part of building credit, let's say, right? Paying off those student loans. So it's a natural progression of getting more specific and more specific. And in that student loans, you will link back to building credit and linking back to millennial home buyers. And again, so you're just really creating a strategy. This is good for your link building strategy, but also just good for your thought process to where you have a logical progression of thoughts and ideas going in your blog strategy. So now, the fun part, right? I'm talking about the webinar is called Creating a Powerful Blog. Now we're actually going to get to the nitty-gritty of creating a blog. So topics, it can be thought leadership, opinions, tips, industry, non-industry trends, something about your culture. So really what we say on like thought leadership, for instance, I'll give you an example of WebMax, and what I'll get into later is, we're really big in mortgage technology, the buzzword of the digital mortgage. So maybe we create a blog that talks about where we think the digital mortgage will be in the next 5 to 10 years. So thought leadership, showing that we have expertise in the subject matter and that we know what we're talking about. And then opinions. So let's say, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, right? CFP, yes. Let's say they come out with a new regulation about mortgage technology when applying for a mortgage online. We can offer an opinion on that to show where we stand, and it ties into thought leadership. It's showing where we stand within that and having an opinion. That's something that's awesome about the First Amendment and what they found. Businesses are allowed to have opinions, so we can do that. Of course, you want to balance the line between having a strong opinion to boost your business and having too strong an opinion that may detract customers. So you have to, toe the thin line there. Then tips. I mean, that's easy. So again, talking about the digital mortgage, here's 5 tips to provide a better digital mortgage experience to your customers. So again, we're business to business, so we're trying to help other people out. Oh, what are 5 ways? One of them is creating a blog, which is why we're here. And then industry and non-industry trends. That goes back to thought leadership. But you can kind of think about touching on trends that are not going on in your industry. You can talk about, so let's say WebMax, right? We're a mortgage technology company. Well, maybe there's some really innovative things going on in the healthcare industry. So we're still tied to it in a way where there's technology and there's innovation, but we're kind of diversifying and talking about different things to maybe attract different readers. And so the first thing to think about, and again, because we talked about the audience before, the first thing you want to do is say, what do I want the reader to think when finished reading? Because it's all about the audience, it's all about the reader. There's an acronym that says WIIFM, what's in it for me? So you have to think, because again, we're doing things for a purpose, not just to blog. So what do I want the readers to think about this topic or my company when they're done reading? So do I want them to think that WebMax is really awesome and that they provide the best digital mortgage technology, or do I want them to think that the new regulations from the CFPB are, overbearing? So think about that. And so we'll get more into later. Pulling them in with your first paragraph, right? Like, again, everyone's have so much information they can consume. If you don't pull them in within the first couple of sentences, they're going to click out and read something else, right? Because there's plenty of other interesting things that they could read. Like think about, if you go up to, if you're single, you go up to someone in a bar and you go up and you try to talk to them and, they don't say anything, or you say, oh, how are you doing? And they say, good. They don't keep the conversation going on. You're probably not going to be interested, probably going to walk away. Same thing with the blog. And so organize it into chewable bites, and we'll see this when we look at some examples later on that, you can kind of do. You probably see this when you read stuff where you can do numbers, you can do lists, you can do bulleted points, you can do subtitles, so breaking it up so it's easier for the reader to, what we say, breathe. So the reader can take a breath, and it looks less daunting, looks less scary when you see that there's, chewable bites and seeing a whole 1,000-word article for them to read. Make it dynamic, photos and visuals. So one, having a lead photo to get people to click and read your blog, then also having body photos that will complement your copy, your writing, and to kind of just create a better visual experience, because people like pictures. People like pictures of people. If you can take your own photos, that is awesome. That is great. I highly recommend it. If you cannot, then there's plenty of stock photos you can get from websites like Unsplash, Pexels, which is P-E-X-E-L-S, or Pixabay. It's an engaging title still. Going back to getting people to click, right? That's the hardest thing. There's so many things you want to look at. Hardest thing. So engaging titles. Think about this if you're ever on social media or going down, Google News or Yahoo News, and you think about what you click on. So there's, good ways, like 8 ways to enjoy your Thanksgiving, or, why you should, how to. So think about not necessarily what your blog's about, but how to get people to click. So something that spurs curiosity. So maybe it's like, if you're a founder of a company, like how I started my company, in my garage, like Steve Jobs did. So just think about engaging ways to title things people will click. Conclusions. Conclusions are difficult. Me personally, as someone who, writes for articles and blogs and marketing collateral, conclusions, in my opinion, are the hardest thing to sum up what you said. And if you get someone to read through the whole thing in an engaging way, and then hopefully that it gets them to take a call to action. Don't be afraid in the conclusion to kind of have the reader take action. Have them make a conversion, fill out a contact form. Don't be afraid to take a chance on the conclusion. And an important thing that I forgot to talk about with, see if it's, no. So try to organize, this goes back to newspaper writing, but try to organize your content into most important information to least important information, to where, let's say a reader only reads half of your blog, all of the most important information is in the first half of the blog, and so they leave and they still know the majority of what you'd like them to know. And then edit, and edit again. I know me personally, all through school, when my teacher said edit, I would say, yeah, right. But I'll tell you, I learned the hard way. And let's say, for instance, if I spend 2 hours writing a blog post, I will probably spend another hour just editing it and perfecting it. And it's because I'm a perfectionist, but there's one thing to write something and getting your ideas out. It's another thing to perfect it and say things in the best and most fluent way possible that gets your point across in the best way. So I highly suggest that you edit again and make it the best that it can be, and to make sure it's really conveying the messages that you want to convey. So these here are more just kind of added tips to creating a powerful blog post. Make sure it's mobile optimized. I think we know today everyone is consuming content on their phones and mobile devices. So make sure that they can read on their phones. It's probably where they will read it. Authors and bios. So whoever wrote it at the end, have a nice little bio about who that person is. So that establishes more credibility, because if there is, let's say, for instance, we're talking about a new software that Webmax is putting out, we probably want our chief technology officer to write that, so they know that, hey, this guy's legit who's writing it. Blog sharing and reciprocity. Wow, almost didn't get to talk about that. So blog sharing reciprocity, that's something that you can do, maybe, Webmax, and we have like a partner called Optimal Blue. So what we do is say, hey, we want to build our blog presence. So we contact them, say, hey, we'll guest blog for you, you guest blog for us. This works threefold to where not only, let's say our CEO, we get him to blog over there. So our CEO is getting exposure on a whole other platform that he wasn't exposed on before. We're getting more dynamic content because we're having their CEO blog on our blog. And then 3, we're getting some reciprocal link sharing happening to where their blog's linking to us, our blog's linking to them, and it's creating a strong linking relationship. So blog sharing and reciprocity, like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It's a great way to diversify your content, create more linking, build your digital presence. Pre-populated social sharing. So, right, spreading the word about your blog. Personally at Webmax, we always post our blogs on social media to get more people to see it. We increase our reach, get more people to click in. It's more inbound links. So, and we set it up. You can set it up to have where if someone, you have a little, I'll show you in a second, you have a little Facebook icon. So when someone's reading that blog and they say, I think, wow, I like this, they can just click that Facebook icon and there's already a Facebook post made up for them. All I have to do is click post, making it easy for them. Contact forms and other conversion makers. So setting goals, right? Like in that blog, allowing yourself to generate leads, having a contact form is the easiest way to do it. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's schedule a demo button. So, making your blogs lead gen friendly. And finally, to track that, if you don't have Google Analytics, I highly suggest that you put it on your site so you can see things from how much time are people spending on these blog pages. You can tell if they're reading the whole thing. After they read this blog, are they clicking on my product page? How many people are filling out my contact forms? How many people read my blog? So you can really track the effectiveness. It's a really powerful tool, and it's easy to use, even if you're not a tech guru. And then blogs. So another suggestion, something we're actually working on at Webmax is creating video content, video blogs. So the same thing, instead of writing something, saying it in a dynamic way. Something more to come. Maybe we'll do another webinar about that. So sharing is caring. We talked about that. You can share it in emails and RSS feeds. So we're going to exit. So open link in new tab. Real quick, what I will do is show you guys a couple examples of all the things that I was talking about, and that way you can kind of see what I'm talking about in real time. Bear with me for 1 second. Go to blog. It was not that one. Here is one of the ones that we want to talk about. So again, tying into things that are hot at the time, trendy, fun Halloween real estate marketing tips. And we publish this around Halloween, obviously. So how can we be relevant around Halloween in the mortgage technology industry? We also serve some real estate. So cool. Fun Halloween real estate marketing tips. Trying to create a title that get people to click. Again, having a relevant photo, and great, engaging, bright. And we'll talk about the way you start off with your header. Halloween can be a very tricky time of the year for selling homes. So again, we're trying to be a little bit cute, we're trying to be engaging, we're trying to be clever, we're trying to get people to click. So, okay, I'm reading. However, there are many ways to keep up with the newest trends and ways to bring in more leads. Here's a list of 6 helpful real estate marketing ideas for sell your next listing. Great, I'm engaged. I want more leads if I'm a real estate agent. Always want more leads. And then 6 helpful real estate marketing ideas, only 6, I can do that. And then you'll see here, what are we linking to? Like we said earlier, we're linking back to another blog in our blog, getting that internal link building going. What are we linking to here? Boom, another link within our blog. And it's relevant. See, sell your next listing. Here it says sell fast. So it's relevant keywords that we're linking with. A little bit over my time. Give me 1 second. Give me about, I want to show you 1 or 2 more blogs so I can kind of show you more about what we were talking about. So that way you have a good reference. So again, another title that we talked about, 4 ways technology reinvents the mortgage application process. It's engaging, it's different, it's not extremely provocative, but for lack of a better word, it's provocative. It's reinventing the application process. It's only 4 ways. Again, relevant picture. So how are we starting this off? Today, 90% of prospective home buyers look for a home online. I might not know that, and if I didn't, I'm thinking, holy crap, 90%. So again, getting the person's attention. Digital mortgage experience, linking back to one of our product pages, start. And the key thing there, like I said before, relevant anchor text, digital mortgage experience, going to a digital mortgage software. So just being kind of clever with that, and see how it's broken up into chewable bites. The header, start, and there's 4 different areas with 2 paragraphs in between. This, if I look at this is readable. I can do this. And we're getting in the headers, we're getting key words like borrower experience, mortgage process, savings. And then if you look at the bottom, there's important tags that again will help out with search engine optimization, like loan officers, mortgage business, and I forgot to do the other one. Click the little Facebook post, and then there it goes, pre-populated. All I have to do is click post to Facebook. It has a picture, it has my title, it has the first sentence to get people to click and read. That's what we want. And I will show you one more, and then that will be all. So it is digital mortgage, yes. Again, we're using digital mortgage a lot because that's something clearly at WebMax we are focusing on. So again, getting the digital mortgage of today and tomorrow. So this is getting a little bit more techy, but when you create your blog in a content management system, there will be header tags and this will be like usually an H1 tag if I'm not mistaken, and these will be like H2 and H3 tags. And basically with different tags, Google will rank them higher than your body copy. And see, we're putting digital mortgage in the header tags because Google will value those more. So we're creating content that's relevant for our consumers and it's interesting and engaging, but we're also kind of benefiting ourselves too. So we're being strategic about where we're putting digital mortgage. And again, easy content. What's in tags? Digital mortgage. Maybe we want to tweet this one. I don't wait to log in, but see, pre-populated. So the main things to remember with creating a powerful blog post is to put your audience first and do things with a purpose. You want to drive an outcome, not just blog, whether it's getting them to subscribe, getting them to fill out a contact form, to think of your company differently at the end. So doing things with a purpose, and then doing things that will help you out with using keywords and key phrases and link building, while also creating good content. And then finally, last but not least, we want to share this and put it in a viral form. We want to share this through email, social, reciprocal relationships, and we just want to build your digital presence. So I know we talked a lot about why we build a powerful blog post and what it can do for you and how to do it. So I hope this helped you out a lot, and you guys have a great day. Thank you. Did I just hang up the phone? Oh, am I supposed to ask?